questions yesterday about yesterday lecture. I noticed that by the time you were presenting by Yazid about the language he used, I saw there are two kinds of languages in his expressions. The first, he used the terms I in the whole expressions. He said that I give rahmah, no bayazid, God in the house, and he mentions I. It's like subhani, without any other subject but he himself. But the other expressions, he's using different forms. There are two subjects. He said that God names me as his servants. There is a duality. He as a subject and Allah, God as another subject. Can you give me explanation about these two kinds of expressions in his language of mysticism? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any other question in the same line or not? Okay.
No.
When I talk about language, I do not mean the wording or terminology. I look at the language as a world. Each language brings its own world with it. I was thinking of a language paradigm. For example, the time that in Ashmolean Museum in Oxford there was a hard fight between Darwin, helped by Thomas Huxley, and on the other side the church about the theory of evolution. You know that. At that time, on that museum, there was a long challenge. The problem was that they were targeting one issue in two different languages. When in biology you ask, is there any God? It is different from when you ask in theology or in a spiritual understanding. Because God, the existence of God in biology, if you ask, you cannot have the same answer as if somebody said that, do you think our spirit refers to the existence of God by nature? This is a completely different matter. Because they were discussing one issue into different languages without transferring one without one being transferred from one side to the other side, that would have created a problem. Here, first of all, I wanted to say that what I meant by language is that. Secondly, when he said that, okay, in this first night of my being buried, you mean that, when I said, the angel Nakir and Munkar came and they asked me, who is your God? I said, okay, no use for that. Go back to him, capital H, to him and ask him, what is my relation to him? And if he recognized that I am the servant, then it is something, then come back to me. Because here he thinks that his existence is only defined by the acceptance of God, being a servant. If it is established that he is a servant and no attribute but being the servant of God, Abdullah, then he can say, there is no one but God in this house, because I'm nothing. What I have is the title of his servant. So that word I, in fact, comes from the negation of I. When we are going to talk about Jalaluddin Rumi, I will say that. I will explain that. He said that من کسی در ناب کسی دریافتم پس کسی در ناب کسی در باختم. I found true individuality through I in non-individuality. Therefore, I decided to lose my individuality in the realm of non-individuality. از کجا جوییم علم از ترک علم و از کجا جوییم I forgot the second part. Said that if you want the real knowledge, you should seek for the having no opinion. You should forget about the knowledge. Then you will have true knowledge. I will come to explain that in the in Jalaluddin Rumi. Okay? Yes.
No, actually, my question is I'm asking whether the different expressions represent different level of consciousness of Bayezid. Because
No.
because he represents himself as I and only one subject in that expressions. Some like Al-Halaj say Al-Haq. There is no other subject in that expressions but I, only single agent. But the other expressions he's using duality, I and God, I and him, I and he. There are two. But I want to know whether these different expressions of the mystic represent different level of consciousness or not.
No. It does not reflect the different level of consciousness of the one who is saying that, for example, Hallaj or Bayazid. No, it doesn't mean that he was one time in a lower level of consciousness saying that, and another time in another level said that. That doesn't reflect. We'll come to that. Yeah, Rebecca.
I just want to, they must have obviously written this in a state of sobriety. So
What?
they must have written these works when they're in a state of sobriety. You can't write. When Halaj wrote an Al-Haq, or he composed Kitab al-Tawasim, it wasn't composed in a state of fana or
Why? How do you know?
Is it? That's what I'm wondering. Is it possible to sit down and write something?
It doesn't mean that he was sitting down writing that.
Or standing.
No, he was. He said that perhaps somebody else.
They were writing it. Someone else heard it. I thought.
Yes, he was proclaiming that.
Right.
Not
okay.
sitting down and writing poetry or something.
Okay.
Okay, shall I continue? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yesterday I talked about Bayezid, and as I mentioned, maybe this is an important point that I said that I'm not going to argue over to establish something or to refuse something. Whatever I want to do is that just to introduce the production of a special language which was created. And unless you go inside the realm of that language, you cannot give meaning to that from outside game of words of language. This is important that I repeat. Now we come to another person, almost 200 years after Bayezid, from the same area, Abu al-Hasan Ali ibn Ahmad ibn Ja'far ibn Salman Kharaqani. The main source of this, as you know, if you want to know more, is Tadkiratul Awliya of Attar and Nurul Ulum. Nurul Ulum is a collection of his work. Yesterday I mentioned that in all of the works related to Bayezid, to Hallaj, to Kharaqani, to all of this, the word Nur, light, is in all of them included. The reason I mentioned, again, if I have time I will come back to it, is the famous Ayatul Nur, Allah Nurul Samawat wal Ard. Here again, Nurul Ulum is a collection of the words of Abu Hasan Kharaqani. Other sources, if you want to go, is Kashf al-Mahjub, Rawzat al-Fariqain, Asrar al-Tawheed, کشف الاسرار میبودی، طبقات صوفی انصاری، عین القضات همدانی, which we are going to talk about today, that time, مجد الدین بغدادی, Attar, نجم الدین کبرا. When I say Attar, I mean other works of Attar. نجم الدین کبرا, نجم الدین دایه, روزبهان بغلی. The last one, روزبهان بغلی, resembles very much to عین القضات in the approach of writing the context of the language. Also, there are other books and treatises about that written in the 7th and 8th centuries. That one, when those sources that I mentioned, it is before the 7th and 8th century, generally. Yes, please.
I was going to start your PowerPoint.
You want to?
Well, I was going to make it as a slideshow.
What did you do?
They did it.
Oh, you're a prophet. Can I bring a glass of water? It's off and on. Okay.
Doctor, can we time ourselves, Professor?
Okay.
Doctor, can we time ourselves to finish at 10:30? So we have an hour from now.
Okay.
Yeah?
Again, like Bayezid, Kharagani, according to reliable sources, was Ummi, illiterate. And of course, mystics have special definitions about Ummi, what does it mean. They say if, of course this is not very serious, but for them to do some kind of playing game with the word, they say that if somebody doesn't know to read his Surah to Hamd correctly, then he's Ummi. And there is a saying from Khaja Abdullah, he said that Abu Hassan Kharagani was reading Al-Hamd with Ha, not Ha-Hutti, the other one. Therefore, he is Ummi. But that we should discuss in another way, because that is not serious. There is some kind of playing with language. All of his life was spent in a small village, Kharagan, close to Bastan. And his source of living used to come from farming, mainly. And Khaja Abdullah Ansari, the famous mystic who was famous for his beautiful kind of wording in prayer, he said that I mean Abdullah. I'm translating this. I, Abdullah, I was a man from desert, and Abdullah was someone who was walking in a desert, in not any defined position. Because when you talk about desert for mystics, means that there is no wall, so you have freedom to go everywhere. And he was looking for the water of life, of Haywan, Ma'ul Hayat. And suddenly, Abdullah means Abdullah Ansari, faced with Kharagani. And facing with him was enough to drink that much of water of life, which gives you eternity, that neither Abdullah was left nor Kharagani. Both disappeared from the scene. His spiritual life and his sacred experiences are manifested in his unique literature in the realm of mystic literature around the world. When you talk about Kharagani, the first thing that comes to mind is his unique and so poetic literature. That is something that I cannot manifest here because I have problem in translating Persian to English even in the ordinary sentence. Definitely I cannot reflect in my English speaking the subtlety of Karagani's wording. He transfers his messages in an allegoric. Almost all of his saying is allegoric and poetic. Surrealistic language is very surrealistic, which is a surprise from an illiterate peasantry man in that village at that time. It is about 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, in that small village, how an illiterate man could establish such kind of wording in that subtle and sometimes very complex, very artistic. I told about the artistic approach of Bayezid, the establishment of the artistic approach in understanding theology. But in the case of Kharagani, the wording is very high, and all of is allegoric and full of complication and mainly surrealistic. For example, one of his wording I tried to translate. He said, 2 pieces of clouds came from unseen, green and white. Whenever you mention nobles men, grace will fall from the white one, from the ash, ash, to the earth, from the east to the west. Whenever you remember God, love reigns from the green one, from the ash to the earth, from the east to the west. This is my poor translation of that. Another type of his allegoric saying, I was passing, carrying a pot of water on my shoulder. My heart bloomed. Something like an apricot came out of my throat. I threw it away. A white bird came down from above and took it. After some periods, I asked God, what was it? He said, that was wishing. He said that apricot came and a white bird took it, went. Somebody was taken from me forever. And what was that? God said, wishing. You remember the same type of understanding and recommending the concept, religious concept was tried by Yazid yesterday. When I said that God offered me, Bayezid said, God offered me kingdom in each of thousands stages. I refused. In each of thousand stages of the Jannah, of the paradise, God offered me the kingdom. I refused. In the last stage, he asked me, what do you wish then? If you refuse the kingdom of all of these stages, then what do you wish then? What do you want? I said, I wish not to wish. Bayezid was very fond of, Kharagani was very fond of Bayezid. Of course, geographically they are coming from the same region. And in a lot of the stories, and it is my region, by the way, and in lots of stories, as I mentioned yesterday, you cannot differentiate between the stories and realities in this kind of approach. There's a lot of the story that in each morning Kharagani used to walk from Kharagan to Bastam and pray beside the grave of Bayezid and come back after this story because physically it is not possible to do every day. Although he has lots of commonalities with Bayezid, Abu Sa'id and Abu Abbas Qassam, especially Kharagani is very like Abu Abbas Qassam very much. It is so that as if he's mentioning Abu Abbas as his sheikh. And Hallaj. So he has many things close in the same range of the same tonality, conceptual tonality of Hallaj, Bayezid, Abu Abbas Qassam and Abu Sa'id Abu Khair. He remains a unique voice in the realm of Irfan, not in having words like, he didn't have shathiyat like An al-Haq or Subhani Ma'ala Mushani. I mentioned that these four famous shathiyat, they are not from, none of them are from or attributed to Kharagani. But this uniqueness refers to his brave, sincere type of relation with God. The way he talks to God, this is bold, brave, and unique, and very poetic. Manifested in his peasantry language mixed with his social environment's signs. I now read for you and try to translate samples of his special language. I don't read the Persian, if somebody knows that, you can do. Said that you can write on everything but water. You cannot write on water. Then if you pass over the sea, write over the sea with your blood, so that anyone who follows you after you in the course of history recognize that this was the pathway of lovers and those who were burned with love of God. So write with your blood on the sea. One cannot write on everything, but on the sea, and if you go to the sea, write on it by your blood, so that the one who comes on your trace knows that lovers, drunks, and heart-burned have gone through it. When I reached, this is very beautiful, when I reached around Arsh, groups of angels came to welcome, being proud that they are from the spiritual and infallible realm. I said, I come from the realm of Allah. They then felt ashamed. And Kharagani said that everybody used to hunt fishing in the sea. But how do we translate Javanmal? I don't know. Do you know? Chivalry, yeah. Chivalry people, yes. But chivalry people hunt fish on the earth, not on the sea. Ordinary people used to grow plants, have farming on the earth, but chivalry people do it on the sea. One day, he said, one day I told to God, Ha means that want to say something very intimate. In the wording of that area, is still the same. I said, oh God, if Jibreel did not come to Mustafa
peace be upon him, and Mustafa, the Prophet, didn't come to people, still I was the same as I am now. And he said that God told me, "Oh my servant," in Persian this is very beautiful, but unfortunately you don't know. He said that "Bengar تا بایست دلت چیست بنگریستم بایست دلم او بود بکندم و بینداختم گفت بنگر تا بایست جانت چیست بنگریستم بایست جانم او بود بکندم و بینداختم گفتم الهی حدیث اینجا نیست که تو میپنداری پس مرغانی سپید دیدم که از هوا در آمدند و دل و جان مرا برگرفتند و به هوا در بردند آر داشتم که از پس آن بنگریستمی. I will translate. God told me, "O my servant, look, what is the final wish, the subtle wish of your heart?" I look at my heart and I found that my real deep wish is Him, God. Then I took it away, threw it. And then he said that, look at your life, your soul. I looked and I found that sorry, I made a mistake, sorry. بایست دلم او بود. This او refers to them. What I wanted was my heart. I threw it away. And my life, I threw it away. And then I said that, oh God, the hadith means that the innovation of understanding, the new understanding, is not that what you think. Then some white birds came and took my heart and my soul and took it to the sky. And I didn't let myself to look at them, how they are going. The heart is like a sea, and the language, the words, are like its coast. به کناران افتد که در دریا بود. Whatever is in the coast came from the sea. He wants to say that, as I mentioned yesterday, the transcendental, mystical experience will create the transcendental words, because whatever is the coast is driven from the sea. آتششون برآمد بهشت را بسوخت. The fire of love came and the paradise was burned. And the sea of love, of affinity, waved, and the hell was gone, was in fana, finished. And the wind of the grace of God came, and Qiyamah, the day after, was taken away with all of the people related to that day. I said that he was very bold talking to God. This is one example. Oh God, when I look at my soul is in pain. Jahannam, my soul. When I look at my heart, dil kunat dard. The pain is in my heart. When I look at my action, my deeds, then my the day after, my the day after, my qiyamah is in pain. But when I look at the time, waqt, then tu'am kunidad, my you, this sentence, this structure is fabricated. My you is in pain. My you, my soul, my heart, my you.
You being my inner self.
My you means God, my you. Not my God is different. My you is kind of unification now. My you is in pain. Then when I say, why when you look at waqt, it is in such a stage? Because when mystics, when Arafat talks about waqt, it doesn't mean time. It is a portion of time. This is very delicate matter, please. And Rebecca, the other Rebecca, the second, no, you're the second Rebecca. Oh, no. Which Rebecca? You're Rebecca, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the second.
Yeah.
You join second.
You ask about Hafiz yesterday. It's good for you to
Yes. Okay.
You are in dreaming, something like that.
Dreaming?
You were okay. And when Orafa, it is important when you see this terminology waqt, time. In all of the mixes writing, Hafiz, Mawlana, especially Kharagani and Bayazid and Attar, it is different from time. Hafiz says, وقت را قنیمت آنقدر که بتوانی حاصل از حیات جان این دم است تا دانی. Waqt, time is different from umr, from life, period of life. Because they believe that usually the moments, which is our main capital, they are lost, whether we want or not. They are going. We are losing them. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. It is a rule. We are by nature losing. We are losers. Therefore, the time, our lifetime, it goes. Usually without our control. But there are some portions of life, very small portions, depend on the people. That portions are hunted by us. We hunt that. And it is the portion that the time stops there. The time stops there. And when time stops means that we don't feel aging on that period. And that they call it waqt. Means the exceptional portions of life which you hunt it, which you take it in your hand and use it to the way that you should use it, and on that moments you are not getting age. You belong to eternity at that moment. And that moments are very rare. Depends on some of us may not have it forever. Some people, they have it. This is the reason they call it waqt. For example, when Attar is talking about the story of Sheikh San'an, you know the story of Sheikh San'an? You don't. You don't. It's very good. And then Hafiz, the story of Sheikh San'an, Attar is about 40 pages. But Hafiz tell us the gist of that 40 pages in 2 lines. And on that 2 lines, if you are interested, you can see and then go and read it. He uses the word waqt. Hafiz described that portion that Sheikh San'an was hunted by that love. That described that portion, and the portion that in fact Sheikh San'an hunted that portion. So it became eternal on that moment. He said that, oh God, if my body, if my organs are in pain, you will cure. But if my you is in pain, who is going to cure it? Means that if I have some disconnection with you, then who is going to cure it? Again, I said that in Kharagani